Well, hello and welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome. Good morning, bienvenidos a todos. Hello and welcome and hello, guys. You find yourselves in the enviable position of joining us on an extremely special edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. And don't infer anything from our slogan, guys. Un poco mas. Thank you for joining me. It is, what is it today? Tuesday, 13th of May. The whole market's green, basically, on the tech side. Now, the Dow, the industrials, it's all over the place. But NASDAQ is way up 325 points, almost 2%. S&P 500 up a little less than 1%. The Russell 2000, the mid caps and small caps aren't really going anywhere. It's sort of a, Magnificent Seven led rally on a, trade deal with China, CPI print, just so many, I think, positive setups for the market that if we can, the enemy of the markets is uncertainty. And we've had just a tremendous amount of uncertainty in Q1. And that's really what dragged down super micro. But guys, I'm going to give you the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory on how these trades work and how I make so much money, consistently. I know people like, oh, no, you never beat the market. Like you've never had a 10x. People can think whatever they want, guys. It doesn't really matter to me, but I gave you the setup on SoFi. Everyone was laughing. I remember everybody said, including the Canadian turd mafia, everyone was echoing this echo chamber. Hey, it's a dead stock. It's a great company. They're growing rapidly. Management's incredible, but it's a dead stock. It's just never going to move up. And once every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every swinging dick, every Jamoke and Jabroni, every truck stop all-star, every shoe shine boy ran on home and grabbed their shine box, what happens? I said the stock was going to go to 1375, and everybody thought I was crazy, which was basically doubling, and then the stock runs to 18. Do you guys realize SoFi, and I don't mean to make this about SoFi, but do you guys realize SoFi was just down at $8.60 some odd cents like a month ago? I mean, I'm not even kidding you. The stock in like 4 or 5 weeks has made like a 70% move. It's free money. And the reason I bring that up is because my contention is that the hedge funds, the shorts, companies like Citadel, Jane Street, Vanguard, sometimes Fidelity, always BlackRock, always FMR LLC. There's these companies, that they just choose. And SoFi was one of those companies. And it goes on for years and years and years. And people are like, hey, you're crazy. They don't actually control the price. Market bullshit. They control the price to the tick. And I could prove it to you if you had half a brain in your head, which I know you don't, because, that's the reason you're here watching this show, because you're a complete moron. You're grasping at straws. You get killed in the markets year after year because you trade like a hamster on crack. You sell the dip and you smell the rip. You buy high on hysteria. You sell low on depression and sedatives. It's just your playbook. Your playbook sucks. It's not that you can't execute your playbook. It's just that your playbook is a bunch of gibberish and nonsense. And, there's so much fear at the bottom. You have to embrace fear. You have to learn to like fear because, irrational fear is what lets you build a tremendous amount of wealth inside of these markets. They create a narrative, but how do you know the narrative is false? I'll tell you how the narrative is false. And I know I'm crazy, guys, but this support line goes back to May of 2023. So that's 2 full years ago. And if you tell me this line is not valid, I will come over there and personally slap you right across the face with a, dead trout or whatever. This is as valid as it gets. Look at all these tests to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then as you come across its support, it's another support line here. 1, 2, 3, 4 tests here. And what about this horizontal line? You're going to tell me the algo has not been on this stock fixing this. This wasn't a pump and dump. I know it's going to go way back up because smart money was accumulating a lot of shares in the 40s and 50s. this is going to go back up to all-time highs. I say that with, I mean, I can't be certain, but Vanguard and BlackRock, they're not guessing. They're not playing. They're controlling the price action. They decide when this happens. You think Raymond James coming out with a $41 price target is just sending everyone into this, absolute tizzy? Welcome and hello and welcome to Princess J, just our best viewer. Once again, she makes this show possible. I don't know how she puts up with me. I'm such an emotional, just super Karen. Everything, talk about thin skin. My thin so skin you could see my organs, or at least my ample body fat. But just, all I can say is Princess J is not, she's just the best ever. Just the absolute best ever. And we at Poco Moss just love her so much. And I personally love her so much. So Princess J, thank you a million times. Thank you for everything you do and all of the absolute Karen trauma stuff you have to put up with. Jesus, this woman is somewhere, beyond sainthood. But anyway, Princess J, thank you. And Not a Lurker, let me blow a big kiss also to Not a Lurker, my favorite bald man, my platonic work husband, the great Not a Lurker. Of course, would also like to thank another great moderator, Alberto Bertie Aviles, and of course his work wife Lisa, who's here. We got Brian with a Y chomping at the bit to make a comment. I'm going to go through some of your comments if I can get my nausea under control. For some reason, you guys trigger a high degree of nausea within the general viewing public, and specifically me. But anyway, yes, welcome and hello and welcome one and all. So look at this level, guys. This is a horizontal line here in blue. It's also the dotted line is the current level. So this is right around 38.55. Look at how many times this tests this line. Exactly. It's not these algos are pre-programming in these levels where they want these reversals based on some psychological profile they've developed going through your garbage, and they know what a weak-kneed loser you are, and they know how to shake you out, and they know how to get you to buy right at the top at 38, and then they get you to sell down here like, oh no, it's crashing. It's not crashing. Institutions and insiders would sell. Don't you get it? Don't you get how this works? You guys are so stupid. Okay, so just look at the numbers. Insider ownership is not inclusive of institutional ownership. They're exclusive of each other. Read the list. Okay? The insiders own this whole company. The founders own like more than 10% of the shares just themselves. Aunt Sarah and Uncle Chuckie own like 65 million shares. Okay. I got a couple deals brewing. But so listen, insider ownership 27%. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, institutional ownership has actually held steady, gone up slightly. So right at 340 million shares, 57%. So you add those two together, 84%. Now look at the short. Okay, short is 21% of the free float, not of all the issued shares. They're capitulating yesterday big time. Also today, if you look at the official report, again, Ortex was way off. Official report settlement end of April, release date just 8th of May. Short was back up 4.4%, 108 million shares, yada, yada, yada. So they're behind the curve on the short. If you add it all up, there's very, very little liquidity in this stock. Most of us, retail who's hung through the swings, saw the stock go down to 17s, saw it battered back down to 25. I mean, you look at the multiples, you know what this thing's worth. Raymond James said it quite well. This is as pure an AI play as what if Nvidia's market share is eroded somewhat to AMD, just slightly. They're ahead there too. SMCI is not just dependent on Nvidia. They're getting all the business from Nvidia because Nvidia is basically taking over the world. NVIDIA could sit on top of the world as long as they don't do it in a Beverly Hills hotel. Don't allow no Jensens in there. I miss good movies. I miss the 80s. Beverly Hills Cop. What a film. Judd Hurt. Banana in the tailpipe. It's got to be more natural for us brothers. Eddie Murphy was funny. I don't care if he, whatever, dressed up in women's clothing. Doesn't matter to me. Funny man. Anyway, welcome and hello, everybody. If Eddie Murphy's watching, big fan. But anyway, so the conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, price fixing lasts for years, but it only works if they run it way up after they've shaken all the weak-kneed retarders, out of the stock. Of course, with SoFi, they couldn't get everybody out of the stocks. Just, retail has become very passionate, like dogs, ripping apart raw meat. And, in the sort of younger, more brash crypto bro retail, they laugh at fear. I don't even think it's fear. I think some of these narratives are ridiculous. You have Kramer, coming out like, oh, Dell's going to win. Like, how? Super microcomputer is way ahead of Dell on liquid cooling. They have better density, way faster to actually get a data center built, multiple times faster. Dell doesn't have anything near their solutions. And super microcomputer is way cheaper than Dell. Better, faster, cheaper, more density. It's just, when do facts matter? This notion that Dell is beating SMCI in the race to, make superior AI data center, it's a fantasy. They may be a superior company in terms of their corporate governance and accounting practices and the lawyers they hire and the scope, their regulatory compliance. I don't think anyone could argue that point. But SMCI is an agnostic AI play. Guys, they just put out news today, like big press releases. SMCI, okay, the shares jump after Raymond James, it's just so stupid. You get these cues from the market, like, you got the Goldman Sachs downgrade, the whole market sells the thing off in unison. You get the Raymond James upgrade, the stock jumps, 15%. It's a theater of the absurd. They're playing with retail emotions. They've got you on a string. Super microcomputer, why it's the near peer AI play. It's like, it's so obvious. They're going to build more and more data. So you hear what they're talking about with Facebook? They're going to have these glasses that are doing facial recognition, real time analyzing. Mark Zuckerberg says, 80% of your friends are going to be AI. I certainly hope not. Probably 100% of his friends are going to be AI. But sometimes you just have a personality, a really horrible personality, and you're not like everybody else, and that has good and bad. Like, maybe it makes you super successful because you're a sociopath and you don't mind, stealing and stabbing people in the back to get where you want to go. I'm not saying that, of course, of Meta AI founder Mark Zuckerberg. I'm just speaking in generalities, of course. But sometimes your vision might be a little bit askew in terms of how fast you're going to get into this AI world where everybody, I could see it in like Korea or Japan. People get really into this. I don't know how many people, want to live their life through this AI lens at this point. It's probably coming. I don't know how many people want a neural link at this point. I got a monkey gallbladder, but that's a totally different thing. That was just an elective procedure. Carl C. Mark, Mattress King of Chicago. Yep. 2% year-on-year growth. Jeremy Miller is one of the guys that just doesn't see the big picture. It's probably because of those transition lenses he's wearing. They're not as responsive as they could be. So he comes inside trying to read his computer screen for 20, 30 minutes, got the full sunglasses on. He just can't see a goddamn thing. But they're working on a service dog for him, so he can maintain those transition lenses, doesn't have to carry around an extra pair of spectacles. Very important. Very important. Like I said. I don't know. Let's see, guys. I got the great Dale P. I was hitting the islands. I was in the trade winds. I got My boat was drifting for 50 or 60 days. I was rescued by a Portuguese fisherman. I had a long fight with a marlin, dragged me out. Dragged me out. By the time I had reeled in the marlin, secured it to my boat, I started going back to shore, and sharks got the scent, trailed me all the way back to shore. And by the time I got back, marlin had been completely eaten. But I'll tell you, there were lessons learned. That's the important thing. But anyway, no, I'm fine. I was shipwrecked. Service cat. Service cat. The service cat gonna do scratch you. Have I gone full carrot top? I'm not sure what that means. Is that like red hair? No, people think that because I have I have blonde hair, I have gray, I have a little tinge of red in my beard. But no, it's very little. I think it's just kind of the lighting. No, I'm not full ginger, but I wish I was. Sometimes I wish I was. To get more of that free sunscreen. I love just the free sunscreen at the resorts. I'm just like, it's like caking that stuff on, just still getting sunburned. Yeah, I lurk. I mean, oh my God, dude. I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about. Anyway, so back to Super Micro, back to this pure AI play, back to what I think, where I think this thing's going to go. Again, you have 85% ownership between institutions and insiders. You have 22% of the free float sold short. You have borrowing costs kept absurdly low, 0.3, 0.4% by the same people that are long the stock. So the longs are the ones that decide when this thing turns and when this thing goes back up, to levels probably. So, because when you go through here, which I think you're just about to, you in fact are, I mean, look at this line. So you had this as resistance here on the 28th of April, again, 8th of April, acting basically as support through here. Resistance again here on January the 3rd. Resistance again here on, November 22. And then you have to call this resistance here because when you have this massive fall on the Schützenberg massacre, it stops right here again at 38. That's where the buying kicks in. So you either start buying there, they start selling there. And then if you go back here, I wouldn't really say that's a hit there. It's kind of more starts here, but it's support 3 times here, and here, clearly flips to resistance, flips back to support, and it's going to flip back to support, guys. Sorry to go all micro machine guys on you there. But it's just, if you don't see the way this is lining up, it's a combination of a short squeeze, but the short squeeze is exacerbated by the fact there's just no shares to be had. How are they going to cover 22% of the float with only 14% of those shares even trading? I mean, insiders, yeah, they're going to dump maybe at 55, 60, but that's still a tremendous amount of upside. I mean, they've been playing this thing for options, but the game is, I've been telling you, this is the same thing. They hold it down, they flip it. What do you guys what did people think was going to happen to this company? Yeah, their sales crashed to 4.6 billion in one quarter when they just were selling less than that per year just a couple years ago. It's purely cyclical. They're at the end of a product cycle. That's why the margins are low. That's the sales are tanking because, Trump put this tremendous amount of uncertainty in the entire world economy. The bond market was starting to crash. Things that you don't ever see happening were starting to happen. So the fact that they put orders on hold, when those orders come through, AI is not going away. What Raymond James is saying, what Uncle Chuckie's saying, they released products just today, new products for AMD servers to handle these different tasks and workloads. They have a huge, diverse product offering that works with Intel. It works with AMD. It works with Taiwan Semi. Their biggest facility is in Taiwan. But they also have a huge new factory in Malaysia, and they have a bigger footprint than Dell by far in terms of manufacturing, R&D, etc. in this area in the United States. Dell's legacy businesses are just these corporate servers, this stuff they're tied into, the PCs, the laptops. It's SMCI is a pure AI play. right place, right time, superior products, superior speed, superior cooling, superior density. But the speed to market is the key differentiator. And that's why they had some financial problems this last quarter. I mean, they had to take write-downs on inventory, but you have to put out a lot of money up front to be the fastest. And they're not the fastest by a little bit. They're the fastest by a ton. I just don't see how you think this company goes away unless AI goes away, which it's not going to do. Think of all the things they're not even there yet in terms of getting data centers, harvesting all this data. I mean, right now we're talking about self-driving cars. It's going to infect every aspect of retail, purchasing, everything you do, everywhere you go. I just think we're just starting to scratch the surface of AI. And if you just want an agnostic, nuts and bolts, utilitarian AI play, SMCI is as good as it gets. And Raymond James, how do you think this goes? Do you think Dell or HPE is going to kill this company when they can't come close to doing what they do? They can't come close to doing what SMCI does. Ask someone, if you're thinking about invest, don't listen to me because I'm a big fat jerk. Ask someone who actually understands this from a deployment perspective. How long is it going to take Dell to do the same project? If you call them up on the phone today and you say, Uncle Chuckie, Uncle Wally, Aunt Sarah, Uncle Dave, Uncle Mo, all the other uncles they got working with, how long can they can actually have this thing set up and running in like 4 to 6 months, where somebody else might take 12 to 18 months. And that's not an exaggeration. They have to build the stuff that SMCI has sitting on the shelf, and it's plug and play. It's scalable. It's modular. And you can fit a lot more into a lot less space for a lot less cost and a lot less power consumption. Everybody's talking about AI power consumption, but the bears don't want to talk about the fact that SMCI is more efficient. Nobody wants to talk about the facts that SMCI solutions are superior to Dell's. Kramer don't want to talk about it. I don't know, guys. I don't know what else. AI is about to go absolutely ham. We're just starting to see it. And SMCI, this sales glitch, it's cyclical. These orders are going to come. Where else are they going to? Dell can't handle, even if they just get their proportional portion of the business and AI goes ham. And they just keep the same proportion. But I don't believe that. Are you going to tell me that because they had these accounting difficulties or some SEC fines, you're going to pay more, wait longer, have an inferior product? Hogwash. They don't care about that. This is sticks and dirt, guys. This isn't emotions. This isn't your grandma's, China. They're here to do a job. Uncle Chuckie does a job. Michael Dell may be the greatest guy of a charitable trust. I don't know if he's bald. I don't know if he wears high brown slacks he bought from Kmart. I don't know if he wears clip-on brown striped ties. Keeps pulling up his pants incessantly, crying about his relationship with Anthony Noto. Guys, but even if you look at the analysts that are coming in of late, okay, this Raymond James guy, I know him. He's as good as it gets. Okay, 500 ratings. Neil, same thing, 500 ratings. Look at the average return, 23%. Now, the downgrade from Wedbush, this guy is also an excellent analyst, so I'm not going to try to go David Chiavarini on him. He's 30 in a buy, which is kind of odd. But valuation concerns, okay, again, Kevin Rosenblatt, again, 5-star guy, return. These guys are coming in 40, 59, 30, 50, 30. But of these 5-star guys, Ananda, he's at 70. City with a trim 39, 37. Nobody's calling for a crash. Nobody. Did you notice the thing never crashed? Like, did anybody notice that? It was like, oh, it crashed. And then it just came right back up to 32, 33, right where they'd been fixing the price all through December, all the way through February. If you go from, December 13 to, February 4, you could have basically it's the same exact chart as March through May. I mean, look at it. The pump and dump. They're on script, guys. But the problem is it was the same exact thing I said. When the other shorts start to get out of the stock, when you see the borrowing start to come down, the short interest creep up or stay steady, you see the smart shorts, Jane Street, Citadel, the ones with straddles on, you see them start to flip and go long. It's going to be a huge move because there is so much pent up potential energy from them holding the stock down to an irrational level for years. As SoFi was actually just crushing everything, they kept pushing it back down in the sixes. If you think this thing, you weren't buying this in the 20s, you can't do math. You can't see a trend. The fact that sales, dipped down a little bit on a cyclical basis, and because of all this, tariff madness, throw the world into hysteria and fear, that is not the fault of SMCI. And you see this breaking out of the channel, and you see where the upside is going. I mean, this was just at 121, and I know there was a ton of hype in here, and this was somewhat of a pump and dump, but, as soon as this clears, I would say 48, I think the next level you're going to be worrying about is 72. I think bulls are going to send this thing skyward. They own all the shit. It doesn't take much because you're squeezing a tiny package. And when you're squeezing a tiny package, it doesn't take much to make it explode. Many of you ladies know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I have no idea what the point of this show was. What's up, Alberto? How you doing? What's up, Chris H? HHH, don't know it. Stockman Mark, Admiral and Poco, what's up? What's up, Stockman Mark? How you doing? The great Caesar Wright. Caesar Wright wants to call and scream at me. Yeah, I'll give you all my cell phone numbers. You can call me on vacation, scream at me. Regretted not loading a video at 100 when I had the chance. Yeah, I dabbled, but yeah, I was more into buying SMCI in the 20s. I just thought much more undervalued, but they rise and fall together. I'm like the sands of the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Great Caesar Wright once said. Carl Seymour, Match King of Chicago, we talked to him. What's up? I am running for El Presidente because I do have a plethora of piñatas. That's great, Alberto. They're all in their solutions are crazy. Yeah, Jeremy, they have a lot of stuff, just a lot of fiscal mismanagement, a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They don't just shoot themselves in the foot, they shoot themselves in the testicles, which is even worse. Because you're not just limping, you're blowing off your testicles. They have lockdown They have lockdown all through Asia. They're worldwide phenomenon, and an AI is just starting. This stock is going to go way past that 121 level, in my opinion, if you give it time. If you can't argue that the algo has not been holding this thing for the last couple of years, and you can even go back before that and argue that it's probably been holding since 2021. Now, there was just nothing going on. This is when the stock started to kind of do something. You saw the sales go up. But if you look at the financials, I think, the trend is very, very clear. If you look at fiscal 2021, they did 3.5 billion in sales. Fiscal 2021. And this horrible quarter, they did 4.6 billion. So the trend, 5 billion 2022, 7 billion 2023, 14 billion 2024. Now they're calling for about 21 billion this year. And I don't think they've updated projections for the next year, but it's very hard to do projections when the entire world is, plunged into darkness and uncertainty. But you'll say, hey, the Chinese, they're negotiating. Everybody's negotiating the deal with Britain. I don't personally think this is the best way to conduct trade policy or foreign policy, but remember what I told you guys when everybody said the world is over, Trump's going to crash. I said, guys, there's a method to the madness. The worst thing you can do is panic. The entire world order of debt, bonds. It's not what happens. The United States says, hey, we're going to take our ball and go home. The whole world figured out how to bypass us. They're already doing it. Canada's making deals with the EU. Canada's going to, supply natural gas to China. It's just, we think, okay, we're indispensable, but nobody's indispensable. The world doesn't stop spinning because we stop to scratch our balls. Americans' view of our own importance, yes, we're very important. We're the biggest economy. The world does not stop spinning just because we, close our eyes and hold our breath and throw a fucking tantrum. It has greatly, greatly weakened us on the world stage as the reserve currency. Just, I don't like the way this is being conducted, if you can't tell. I don't like uncertainty. I don't like, using madman theory all the time. I don't like trying to negotiate with a gun to everybody's head. You don't get, lasting cooperation. You don't get true partners. If you get someone to sign an agreement with a gun pointed at their head, are they really agreeing, or are they just not want their brains blown out? Blood or money. It's the Godfather technique. I told him either, his name or his brain would be on the contract. You're going to sign. But it's just not, to me, a rational, coherent way to conduct trade negotiations. But again, nobody elected me to anything. I'm portly. Nobody listens to me. Can't hold a note. Can't carry a tune. Anyway, nobody's voting for me, Alberto, I assure you. So where's this thing going to go? I think it's going to go back up above 70. I've been telling you for a while, I think it's going to go to 89. I think the shorts created a monster here. I don't understand. Hindenburg covered at 18, 19, probably made millions for them and their hedge funds. When you're late to the party, guys, when you're late to the party, you are the mark. That's what some of these guys were. I kept illustrating through math how they kept shorting in the low 30s and high 20s and how it didn't make any sense. And now they're being absolutely massacred because these last shorts, they're slow, they're late, they're stupid. They just want to whip a dead horse. They don't want to beat it. They keep beating a dead horse. And it's like, this play, you are too late for this play. Why do you want to short so much from 30? The stock's going to go back to 70. Is AI going away? Is the government going to shut this company down because they sold a few outdated server racks to Russia slightly after, sanctions kicked in? Everybody was doing it. I learned it from watching you, Dad. You guys think I should do my rendition of Total Eclipse of the Heart so this guy doesn't get divorced? Psychopath keeps emailing me. I guess he caught my act at one point. He used to do a little road show, but anyway, that's not important right now. The great Maria Powell is here. The great Maria Powell. Welcome, Maria. Welcome and hello. Alberto was cheap to average down too. Thanks, Chris H. Lurker, please say Chris H. Give the man a thrill up his leg. Let's see. Anyway, guys, Billy Jack, it's like a nightmare when you're at a party and accidentally walk out of the bathroom. Of course, Billy Jack's not a stranger to hanging a little dong at a family-friendly party. Is this a barbecue? Like, why is Uncle Billy hanging dong? I don't know. Doorbell. Anyway, yep, Lisa's here, Alberto. You can die a happy man. No, what's going on? I can't go through these comments, guys. I gotta go. I got a ton of work to do. But I just want to come on and say, like, structurally, why I think this thing is going up is because there are no shares available. And you were seeing a short squeeze. They put the brakes on it. But at the end of the day, I don't think retail is not going to sell enough shares under 40 to make them. Retail doesn't even own enough shares. I think most retail, like myself, is holding out 70, 89, 100, or even higher. So I don't see the argument that this stock should be trading under. Yes, margins have been going down, but they are at the very end of a product cycle, and these new orders are about to flood in. Orders delayed are not orders denied. That's what my Uncle Chuckie always taught me. And Aunt Sarah always taught me, box the exacta in the number 4 race at Churchill Downs. That was the advice she gave me, and she kicked me out of the house at 4 years old. Told me to get a job in the coal mines. Aunt Sarah's not a touchy-feely aunt. She wants to... Anyway, guys, I have no idea what I was talking about. I would say if it can push up through 48, JMac, you're going to see it move very, very quickly to 71. That's what the chart is telling me. That's what the numbers are telling me. There's just nothing available. If all these shorts start to cover to push it back down to the short interest it's historically been at, 50 million shares, I mean, you're talking about buying a tremendous amount of shares. It's like 100 million shares they have to cover. And there's no shares available. These institutions want to run it up. That's the whole point. The late shorts are the marks, and they're trapped, and they should cover now because they're just going to make us more money in the future if they try to push back down. AI is not going away. AI is not going away. The narrative is false. It's bald. The bald charitable trust emperor has no clothes. Yeah, because SoFi, I mean, Palantir is grossly overvalued. I think SoFi is pretty fairly valued at the moment. SMCI is at half its value. You're going to see how this stock grows when these data center projects with Mr. Belvedere kick into full swing. You're going to see Jensen down there in a leather jacket installing these servers personally with Uncle Chuckie. I'm still waiting in the mail, Jensen, for my 5XL leather jacket you promised me. Anyway, guys, I got to go. I got work to do. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It has been the honor of my life to entertain all of you. I'd like to thank Alberto Bertiables. Would like to thank the great Nautilurker, probably the greatest wrench in the history of fintech U-turding, and I say that with no degree of irony. I really thank these guys because otherwise your channel devolves into a bunch of insanity on the comments. Thank you, Brian with the well. I appreciate you joining me. What's up, Arnie? Yes, they do call me cornbread because I am moist dough and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat because I am short in stature. I pull more than my own weight. I really go for it. They call me DJ Patchy Drizzle for a variety of reasons because I'm a huge wet blanket. They call me Stock Karen because I'm a huge Karen. They call me blah, blah, blah. I don't know, guys. I got to go. Don't care where you go, but you can't stay here, guys. Peace, I'm out.